About Zenix Storm is they were one of the first teams to really use Nautilus effectively, and we've seen him a lot as like a ganking jungler before that. But one of the things that they did was they ran an AD top and an AD bottom, so a double AD comp with the Nautilus. You have so much survivability because of how tanky he is, because of how much CC he has. So that's obviously a lot of fun. You know, MIG, Blaze, and Frost, the OGN was just so awesome this past weekend. I enjoyed it so much. I'm really excited to see how those teams, you know, kind of continue to grow. But regardless, we are into this game. It should be a lot of fun to see, you know, how MTW is going to try and change things up coming into game number 2.
Yep. So we're actually gonna see the Kennen band coming in from MTW, and I gotta admit, you know, Kennen, you know, worked extremely well that last game as a counter initiator because MTW did go ahead, they'd get aggressive. Kennen, hey, we got all this. Well, we got all this lightning. All of you guys are stunned, by the way. And I think, you know, they're right now, like they're seeing like that was the crux of the problem during those team fights was Kennen. Granted, you know, Ari did get quite a bit of a nice lead, courtesy. You know, Ari and Graves both got really good leads, courtesy of Shen. But, you know, late game, that's where they feel the issue was.
Ken is just such an all-around strong champion and was able to control that top lane very well. We saw that, you know, it wasn't really that big of an issue for Wings. He was able to, you know, he was able to kind of shut down Rumble a little bit, but not really. Rumble, you know, did very well in that top lane. Balls just had so much control as Rumble top. But even so, Kennen is a very safe top laner and then gives you so much teamfight control, like you said. So definitely makes sense. They are actually banning Shen, so I think the concern is if they're not taking Shen jungle, then there's the threat of them taking top. And so you can pressure, you know, Shen has that versatility. And so, you know, they don't want that teleport all over the map. It's just so disruptive. So that, I mean, that definitely makes sense. We'll have to see, you know, what kind of a team they're starting to look at. It's what are the two bans that we're
leaving
up?
Janna and Vlad open. I'm thinking Janna might be their first pick here. Just you know, grab the support, grab the dispersal, because you know that was one of their big problems. You know, they get too in the thick of things, and just the counter initiation just worked out too well. So I think right now they may be thinking a little bit. You know, maybe we should start doing some of the counter initiating. We should let them initiate on us and see how that works. And there we go, Janna pick first coming in.
And we do see Graves being banned out. So, you know, Graves, that is another champion that MTW has been very well known for playing. And Graves as a whole is just such a strong champion, has so much control bot lane, even with his range disadvantage against a number of champions. But, you know, we have seen a lot of kill lanes with him. Taric is kind of in between. So he's a support heal, but he also has that kill potential. Is always, you know, fun to pair him up against. So because Soraka is banned, we're not going to see an aggressive, you know, laner like Leona or like Alistar, but Taric definitely is aggressive as well, has a lot of burst potential, but then also has the safe heal, so you can take advantage of the regen versus Janna if you have the slow harass.
Yeah, and we're going to be taking thinking about Mundo in the jungle as well. Pretty effective, pretty fast dude also. But we also, remember, we also have Vladimir open now. We also have Rise open here now. I'm expecting that, you know, if we don't see TSM Evo here pick one of them, I'm expecting MTW to also pick up one of those as well. I would rather have Rise over Vlad mid, just, you know, for the extra tankiness. I think, you know, right now MTW is thinking, you know, let's try and stick to these team fights a little longer. Let's try and, you know, sustain a little bit more, and you know, the extra armor on Rise really helps out quite a bit.
Yeah, Rise is just generally a strong champion overall. His late game presence is so strong. The concern is we do have Nautilus, and so Nautilus is a very aggressive jungler because of Rise's short range. If we have an aggressive mid as well, those are some easy ganks against Rise. Nautilus just comes in with the ultimate, gets the pullback. So I think you maybe hold off a little bit. Maybe you want to see if if Evo is going to force their mid pick so that, you know, MTW has a little bit more options.
We could have the Vlad pick though. Yeah, and very ambiguous. Could be going top, could be going mid.
Riven actually works very well because it also has that ambiguity. Rise, so actually it is going to be Riven. Wait, they actually could do a number of things. So, you know, Vlad could go top or mid, like you said, and then Riven could go top or jungle. So they have those options still up. But definitely two very strong champions, regardless of their roles. So we'll have to see, and there is a lot of survivability available to them.
And Riven in the jungle, I mean, you know, we have a lot of options available to us in terms of CC and gap closers as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got tons. You know, we go dash, Q. We can go ahead and stun. Q as in the actual skill Q, not crying Q. We're not playing a Mumu here. We have our priorities here. But Nautilus, Rise. I think that would be a nice pickup, for Evo. You go ahead. That's a lot of rooting. That's a lot of keeping champs still.
Yeah, and Ryze just works so well with him paired with an aggressive jungler. You have that snare into the gank, so Nautilus is definitely going to be very easy to pick up kills there if they're very aggressive. As the game progresses, we've already talked about how much damage Ryze has late game, but obviously the tanking capabilities as well. And then you have the long range of Varus in the back. And so Varus actually pairs very well with Taric. Taric, obviously has the stun. He has the armor pen, so the armor pen works well with Varus. Varus has very long range, and then also having a little bit of burst is going to be interesting. And it will hold off the Riven ganks. It will hold off Riven in fights. That's one of the concerns with Riven, is when you can kite her, all of a sudden you lose a lot of that versatility. And so in response, actually, we see a double AP, and Vladimir and Karthus is actually a very common setup to be running mid and top lane together, because they have great AoE damage. They have such a strong late game. It's very easy to pick up kills. So, we'll have to see how Evo is going to deal with that. They are kind of at a disadvantage early game, and so both of them, they are kind of weaker laners early. They can snowball very well, though.
We are going to see the Sivir going bot lane with Janna. It's not the greatest combination in the world, but I think there's kind of looking, let's sit back, let's farm Varus. He can dish out quite a bit of damage, so I think you just want to try and get the range on him as much as we can, so we can just farm pretty safe. Karthus in mid versus Ryze. Not the biggest fan of that matchup, but I think, once again, we're kind of looking for passivity here.
Yeah, and we saw Evo was close to picking up that Sivir last game. Instead went with the Graves. Now that Graves is banned up, Atlanta is going to play Sivir. Definitely against that kind of aggressive lane. It's just so much kill potential. You don't want to allow them to get off either the stun or the snare, so that's going to be a concern.
Ooh.
And
I would like this.
We're going to be seeing
Volibear
top, yeah. And that's really interesting, because Volibear against Vlad early, Vlad has the range advantage, but not quite enough damage to shut down Volibear. So he's not going to be able to harass him out of lane. Volibear has the passive, which is just going to be fantastic for early fights if he can exchange with Vladimir. And Volibear, I've seen him work very well versus Karthus and versus Vladimir. And the thing is, they're not very mobile early. Vladimir, obviously, he has the pull, but Volibear, he's got that, charge in. You toss him back over your shoulder. All of a sudden, you have so much damage to deal with. It's just so, such an aggressive lane.
I'm really liking that Volibear pick. That Volibear is not a champ you get to see, quite often here. But against Vlad, I can see, and we see balls here picking up heal Ghost. So
Volibear's like the new Singed.
He is. He's got the flip, and instead of poison, he's got nice warm fur.
I mean, we have the chain CC. Just toss him back into the fray. We have the pull from Nautilus. Throw him over your shoulder as Volibear.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, someone like Karthus could find themselves very far out of position. Yeah. They go down quickly. The rest of the team falls as well. So that's definitely a concern. With how much burst damage they have 4 tanks on the front line to go in front of Varus. And Varus has, great damage output. The concern is that Varus doesn't have any survivability with escapes or anything. But when you consider, all right, we've got 4 tanks that are high damage dealing tanks, and then we have Varus's damage and disables. No big deal. We've got this.
So I also like, so right here I feel, MTW with this team comp, they're looking to be passive in lane. They just want to farm up. Very hard to do. Once you start getting those team fights, Volibear, he's just like, F you guys. I'm a bear. I'm gonna run in, and I'm just gonna go in and flip whoever I damn well please. And whoever I flip, you're gonna be in trouble. And usually you'd see something like that with a Singed sometimes as well. Singed, you'll pick them up just so later on in team fights you can go ahead, isolate someone, flip them. But Singed, he's a little bit more obvious in his approach, because you see a lot of people before they go in, to get that extra movement speed, they go ahead, they pop the ult. And while Volibear, he does have a nice little movement buff as well, it's not ultimate level.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty fast, though. It's a little bit, burstier than Singed as far as movement speed is concerned. And so that's something they're really going to have to watch out for, is just how much damage output he's going to have. And I think a lot of it's going to come down to how effective the jungles can be through the top lane for the most part. So now mid, like you said, it is going to be more of a farm fest. We have a lot of kill potential from Ryze. Unfortunately, the wall from Karthus should keep him pretty safe. Ryze just doesn't have enough range to deal with Karthus. So, for the most part, both of them are going to sit back and farm. Obviously, if Karthus gets out of position, then we have the quick flash in from Ryze, followed up with Nautilus for the quick kill. That's going to be a huge, issue with Mandatory Cloud, how fast they can burst him down. However, top lane, I'm not sure that Vladimir is going to have enough damage to just, force Wings out of lane. And so if Wings gets an early advantage, then Volibear is just such a monster late game. Can work very well. I'm curious if it'll kind of work as a counter to Vlad. Like, I could definitely see that happening because of how much damage he has, how much survivability he has, and how much burst. And burst tends to counter Vlad. If you can engage on him, you just burst him down real quick, no big deal.
Yep. And, and plus we have the innate health regen as well. And we also got the Ignite going top lane to try and shut down some of the sustain from Vlad once we start going in for the kill as well. I'm looking at Smithy. I'm looking at Riven. Right now, options for ganking, I'm only really seeing bot lane because Volibear, he can sustain. He can also run away. Rise, that root is instant speed. So if Riven comes in, you just go ahead, root, and I'm just going to walk away. I'm really only seeing bot lane options here for Riven.
I mean, Riven definitely has great ganking potential top against Volibear, and one of the concerns with Riven is how mobile she is as a champion. I was, just considering Unstoppable, he's really going to want to focus some on top because he knows, all right, if Volibear gets off to a good advantage, then all of a sudden Volibear can maybe snowball against Vladimir. However, Riven is probably going to want to get in that top lane. You have the mobility, the quick dash is in, you get the stun off onto Volibear, all of a sudden you burst her down because Riven has mobility, disables, and a ton of damage. So it's just going to be really difficult to deal with. So we'll have to see if they can shut down Volibear early very quickly. They could get a nice advantage. They have great late game magic damage. Sivir, adds in a nice chunk of damage as well, and a lot of their damage is magic. So they have a nice mix of damage. So I don't know. A lot of it's going to come down to that early game, and I just see such strong early game presence from Evo.
And so we're going to see how things do pan out. And reminder, if you are joining us right now, immediately following this, we're going to be going into Dignitas Legion. So, do please stick around tonight. We got a nice little double header for all of you just tuning in. It's going to be a good night of League of Legends. It's a great night of League of Legends already. Game 1, TSM Evo, fantastic showing. And you know what? We're going to see these two teams duking out once again at game number 2. If TSM Evo wins this, they will move on to a round of 4.
Yeah, that's true. So, I'm not positive who's left. We have CLG, Dignitas, Legion, in the next match.
Yeah, we got CLG and Team Fortnite. We got Dynamic and Curse also to play.
Oh, there it is. It's right over there.
Dynamic and Curse actually playing tomorrow.
Yes, that's going to be very cool. We have a number of huge matches. Obviously, we have the EU matches in the morning. Yep. If you want to come take a look at those, 11 a.m. Pacific time. We try re-airing them throughout the day. But, we have really aggressive teams here, and so it's going to be exciting to watch this match. Karth is kind of sitting out. We'll throw those Qs to get a little bit of vision. They don't want to allow the fast engage from Nautilus. Nautilus probably just going to sit back and get his blue. He needs to just kind of get a fast early clear in order to get going.
Wings of Death just standing guard out right by the Wraiths. We did see the ward go down, so we did have that nice aggressive ward here from MTW just to get a little bit more vision. So when Nautilus comes around, goes for the Wraiths, they know about it. And we also got this nice preemptive ward here from TSM just in case, we get some of those early ganks coming in from Riven to top lane. So that way Wings has enough time to go ahead and say, hey, Riven's coming on up. I'm going to back off.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be really nice. So it was a concern for them that Riven is going to have those early ganks. The early ward is, going to be huge as far as protection, that top lane. Everyone just kind of sitting back. So they want to be safe here. We will see the early golems for Atlanta and for Muffin Cutie. So they're going to have the nice level advantage there, which is going to be huge against Varus and Tarek. Because Varus and Tarek have such an aggressive lane, they want to watch out for that. Ball's just kind of sitting in place. So he's, I guess, comfortable right now. There he goes. So he was actually, I guess he must have been right on the edge. Yeah, he got the 4 health pots. Oh, he got a ward. So he got a ward. 2 health pots and a ward. So he was sitting right at the edge of the fountain, so he can have that fast ward to protect himself against Nautilus. Because, like we said, both junglers are probably going to focus on top early.
And we also see Wings of Death actually going in and grabbing their own Wraiths.
And did he proc his passive?
I believe, no.
No, he didn't proc his passive.
No, he didn't.
I was kind of wondering. So he is going to be safe in lane. Obviously, Vlad can proc the passive. It won't be a concern for him. But it was kind of interesting. I was curious whether or not he would proc it himself against the jungle. It will give him a nice level advantage. And actually, we see X-Smithy coming in. We have some nice damage coming from Atlanta. The exhaust coming down as well. He will use the flash and get out of there. But the flash from X-Smithy, he gets the stun. And
we got the ignite.
The damage, wow.
Nice, just enough damage. We got the stun flash in from X-Smithy. We got the stun. We got all the range we needed for Atlanta to just come on in, tag the ignite, and we got the first kill going to mTw. Good job on there. That level 2 gank from Riven, always a threat because we can clear a lot of space with the Q, with the stun, and we also had a flash in there, but you know what? We got it. Worth it. Absolutely. And the range on that boomerang is so crazy.
And that's one of the things to consider with Sivir as well. She's kind of underplayed, but she's got a lot of burst, particularly if you can hit both the front and back on the boomerang. You have the auto attack reset with your W's, so you have a lot of damage if you can root people in place. So it is kind of interesting. I'm not positive on Sivir's range, but I think she's at 550, so that gives a slight range advantage to Varus.
Yeah.
So far, we have seen balls wearing down wings here. A lot of that has to do, obviously, with the early wraiths.
Yeah, passive still not proc yet.
Yeah, so he will be very safe in this lane. Once the passive procs, he will get almost up to full along with an HP pot.
So we're still waiting for. We're still waiting. Actually, I think you're right. I think it did proc earlier than 2-minute cooldowns. I'm waiting to see where that cooldown timer is, but it'll come up. But you know what? He's gonna have to go back now. He's a little bit too low. He's gonna have. How much money does he have to shop with? About 500. So he's gonna go ahead, grab a Doran shield, looking for a little bit more health regen top lane, a little bit more health. Armor, not going to be doing that too much against Vlad, but we just want to have a little bit more health because we plan on sticking up there top lane for quite a while. If we're going to be sticking by our tower, we want to be able to make sure that we're actually getting health and staying in lane while we're doing so.
Yeah, and it's interesting. A lot of times Volibear starts off with the Dorans. You don't even start with the boots. Yeah. Versus Vladimir, the boots definitely help him out a lot. He will have a little bit more survivability. He is able to get in and out of lane in order to farm more easily. So that's huge for him early. But the Dorans is still a nice purchase as the first item. Just have that innate regen. The tankiness works very well with his passive. So we'll have to see, at what point is he going to start ramping up this aggression? Because I think it's kind of close. He wants to be not allow Vlad to free farm. Mandatory Cloud just hitting all those Qs onto Salse.
Yeah, and we also had Vladimir go back as well, picked up a tome, so that will be made into a revolver quite soon. But the lane was pushed up. Not really a whole lot we could do. Might as well just go back, get some more AP, get a little bit more damage, and try and counteract some of this regen here from Volibear. And once again, we see him actually going in on top lane, but we also got Aframu here being told to try it in the Q. Both hits in the Q. Proccing on that just caught the tip of that. Once again, another death and another kill here for mTw. Just Atlanta working the range on that boomerang. Just managed to get both hits.
Yeah, just the tip, and he had so much damage, was able to pick that up real quickly. And that's the concern with Sivir is, how much burst you have early. We see Nautilus coming up here. He wants to get a gank on the Vladimir. He's actually just going to back off, drop a ward. He knows that Vladimir's probably warded, so that's going to be a concern. Yep. But so far everything's been pretty safe. We see Atlanta and Muffin Cutie, the early advantage bot, obviously doing better than the previous game. Aframu and Nat.UN had so much control last game. Sivir's definitely working out for them.
Yep, and not to mention, we have the. I was a little bit apprehensive about the Janna combination with the Sivir, but you do have the shield. You are protected a little bit more, and
you have so much burst with the Q.
And you have so much burst with the Q because you have that damage buff. The ratios on Sivir, they've always been a little bit ridiculous. And just have that extra damage on a skill that hits twice if you're skilled enough is amazing. We got the flip here onto balls. Wings of Death actually doing quite a bit. We got Unstoppable here. Also just trying to get, we just one smack and he just pulls just in time to get away. Is not rooted, but we got the ignited balls. He's trying to finish him off. Wings of Death here. We will not be able to get it, and Unstoppable is going to have no choice but to back off. 3-man counter gank, and bot lane once again Aframu getting dove here. Atlanta, the Ignite just came back up. Might as well use it. Got another kill. mTw is taking command of this game, man.
Yeah, and with an early advantage in that bottom lane, it is going to be very difficult for Aframu and Nat.UN to come back. They're not going to have a lot of support from their team because we're not doing that great all around the board. And we saw top lane was working out pretty well with Volibear. Unfortunately, when Volibear is attacked, he doesn't have as much survivability. His W is much better when he's chasing down enemies. It gives you a little bit more movement speed. So not quite able to get out of that gank. We see the quick aggression. They want to shut down Volibear because if he starts off well against Vladimir, they know that how well he can snowball against their team. And we see them actually coming up. 7:30, blue just spawned. Let's steal the quick blue. We have the threat on the Baron as well, or on the Dragon as well.
Yeah, it's very possible we can just go ahead, see them just maneuver right on down to Dragon. It looks like that might actually be what we're doing here. No, we're just going to go ahead and pass off. But we actually do have Nyat and Aftermove still trying to make a difference here, and Aftermove is actually 2 levels behind Atlanta right now. That is just crazy. Wings of Death trying to get some damage here on the balls while he can. They're still even, but we got Unstoppable here. Gonna find a Riven in the bush, and will not be able to get away from this one. And we also got the Karthus ult, just securing the job. Another kill for mTw, 5-0. And this might be an okay time for Dragon, but you know what? I think Atlanta and Muffin Q just kind of want to keep. They just want to keep Afremu in lane because that's where he's at a disadvantage. You just don't want to give him an opportunity to farm. You just don't want to have him catch up at all.
Yeah, we just have so much aggression from mTw. Perfect, map control awareness. So every time Nautilus is trying to gank, you know how aggressive he's going to be. They're just able to kind of counter him off. And so we saw top that happen. There it happened as well. They have such a huge damage advantage now. And with the, bubble that Sivir has, because you can clear off, there's a long gap time for Taric. He's got a long time until his stun hits. It's very easy to hit. We actually see balls coming onto Wings. He's not going to have enough damage, but Sivir has a very easy time with spell shielding, and so it's going to be difficult for them to get enough aggression to counter her off. And with the early advantage, Atlanta is just going to continue putting on the pressure.
But with that ult, we did see Volbear proc the passive, so he's going to have a little bit extra health going back into the fight. He's going to be able to stay in lane a little while longer. And we also have Unstoppable not too far away in case, we want to try and go for another gank here. The ult is down. We do know that much. And Balls actually heal and Ghost are actually both down. So it might be a prime opportunity here for Unstoppable to try again here top lane. But, we saw how that worked last time.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be difficult, but I think he needs to just, go for it. That's something as Nautilus you need to do. Their late game is still going to be very strong, and so right now they just don't want to continue giving up advantages. So you might think to play defensively, but a lot of times it means you just need to be a little bit more calculated with your risks, and they still need to be aggressive. They can't allow mTw to just bully them around, and that's the concern that's going to happen right here because of how much of an early advantage they have. Bot lane, they're going to just completely abuse TSM Evo. And top lane as well with the range advantage that Vladimir has and the early kills advantage. So they need to be aggressive. They need, well-timed ganks in order to just stop this momentum from the mTw.
And Wings of Death just kind of just getting in Ball's face, just putting a little bit of fear into him. He's like, I'm going to flip you. I'm going to flip you. Nah, I was just kidding. But once again, we see Atlanta just going straight in, right on the sides. Like, hey, got some minions pushing up. This free hits on Afremu right now. Just waiting for that boomerang to come back up. We might even be able to get another double proc onto that damage. And you see, this is one of the things that Sivir does best. We have a huge kit, which allows us to push towers super effectively. We have the ricochet, we have the boomerang, just all the minions perfectly line up as they come down. You can just boomerang and hit all of them in one shot if you really want to. And now we're just going straight directly for the tower. We got the tornadoes coming in, trying to keep them at bay, but we do have Nautilus pretty close by. But you know what? Riven is here as well. So if we have a hard engage here from TSM Evo.
It's just funny watching both junglers with that, sixth sense. Neither one wants to commit. Both are kind of thinking the other's there. I think we might see a Taric stun followed up by a Nautilus ultimate any second now. The tower is actually just going to go down, so they are going to back off. And there they had a quick glimpse of Riven before it went down.
Like,
so they knew they were out. They will be safe.
So it's Salsay and Mandatory Cloud here, still exchanging blows in mid, 106-83. Mandatory Cloud is doing some work on mid. We got a nice little 20 creep lead here. They both got the same game in mind though. They both got a catalyst. We're probably going to see Salsay, Banshee's Veil eventually on that. Rod of Ages for Karthus eventually on that as well. Top lane, we actually got the Volbear now edging out a little bit. We do have a lead advantage. We do have a level advantage. We have a small creep advantage, but that's going to be minimal for the time being. We'll see if we can extend that lead. Health and Ghost are back up for Vlad, but we also have the Ignite and Flash back up for here for Wings of Death.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Even with the ranged harass, we actually see Xmithie trying to come in on Salsay. We have the snare. Stun. He's going to be fine. Even with the ranged harass that Vladimir has, he's just so scared of Volibear right now. We actually see Salsay just going to continue chasing. The rest of his team is there. Xmithie's going to be able to get out of there. But Vlad knows, all right, I've got my pool, but even so, Vladimir's just going to run right through it and then toss me, when the pool's over. If he tosses me, he just has so much damage, he's going to be able to take me down, particularly with that phage now.
Oh, yeah.
There's just such a damage threat, and so he's playing very safe. He knows, all right, I just want to farm as Vlad. I don't have to worry about things too much. But it's interesting to see, that kind of fear from Volibear.
And and Vlad is a champ that once he gets really ridiculously farmed, he can just snowball completely out of control. But the fact that we have both of our top lane champs, they're quite even. They're farming relatively evenly. So however much farmed Vlad is, we have equal amount of farm here going to Volibear. So it's nothing too out of control. But we have bot lane just winning ridiculously right now for mTw.NA. And see, we have those exchanges right there. Actually, kind of quite even exchanges. But now we have Dragon open available to us. mTw, they should be able to take that pretty quick without being contested. There we go. Should be quick, easy. There we go.
Yeah, and even though it actually seems even top, Vladimir has the regen, so he will have the advantage of if they kind of exchange, he can regen back up. But we have so much damage, and now we have the ultimate, so he's actually going in for the kill. Will actually back off. But with the passive, if the passive procs, he easily can 1v1 Vladimir right now. Even at this HP, it's tough for Vladimir to kind of burst him down with that passive. And we actually see Varus coming up as well. With that snare, they can very easily get this kill. He's actually going to engage, throw off the snare. They have it, and there's the ignite as well. He can pull through it if he likes, but it is not going to be enough. He gets the quick kill. Karthus throwing off the ultimate doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we had a nice little combo there. We got the ult off here from Varus. Is all plenty enough time, and we got the displacement from the flip. We have all the time we need to go ahead and get all that damage in from Varus. And the pull from balls, trying to baiting that out earlier. That was really Vlad just doing damage to himself. 20% of his health gone, forcing it out. Made all the room we needed to for Evo to come in and swoop, get that kill. And now we got pretty much everyone here in a party in mid trying to be aggressive on this tower. We got the wall of pain coming in after Muna. It's a very hard decision to make. Actually eats 2 Skittles and is going to have to walk away from that one.
Yeah, it was very concerned that concerning that Riven might just engage, and I think the thing is, Ryze was able to hold them off. They have enough damage. Ixmithi would have gone down pretty quickly, but Varus taking a lot of damage, and that's always the concern with Karthus, how much slow his wall provides. It's like 60% movement speed, and I'm not sure if it's attack speed. I'll have to check on that. But I know it's 60% movement speed slow. No, it's not attack speed. That wouldn't make any sense. But it reduces your armor and MR as well, so just so much control. We actually see the flash in along with the stun. Salsa getting very low. Karthus just going to dive for it. Riven is able to get out of there. We will see Ryze going down. No, Karthus goes down first, and the ult is down, so it turns around for TSM Evo. They're able to just dissuade that. You come in, it's not going to happen. Ryze picks up the kill, and then Nautilus coming in for a backup. Yeah,
that was a little bit of a misplay, a little bit too aggressive on that call. There was really no need for Mandatory Cloud to get right there hugging the enemy tower. There's no reason for that. Absolutely no reason. We could have.
It looked like they had the quick kill though. They did. They bursted him down so fast. I thought they had it.
But here's the thing: like we've established these lanes. I thought we were like under the impression here we're trying to go for some little bit of passive farm here, not just like diving tower like that. But we're still in the lead. Not as much of a lead as we had before. But we're comfortable now. We can afford maybe one of those. The next one of those, we're going to be making the gold lead pretty even here. And Unstoppable, we actually clearing.
That was kind of weird.
Ooh, that was kind of
He's just hanging out. He doesn't mind killing.
Like, I know the war is there. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Whatever.
He was just trolling him for a little bit, but we will see Mandatory Cloud able to pick up this blue. That's going to be huge. So, the regen is, just going to be so nasty. Vladimir doing a really nice job, and he does have to worry about the kill potential from Volibear, but has been farming nicely. He has that regen.
Yep.
And as the game progresses, will be very strong. The concern is that both Karthus and Vladimir late game are going to be very vulnerable to Volibear. If he gets the toss back into his team, we have such a tanky team, so many disables, as we said before, and then a ton of burst damage. So we actually see Wings jumping in onto balls. We'll just toss him out, get out of there. He's going to be fine.
And you also notice that Vlad also bought the cooldown boots for himself, so he wants to just get as much damage as we can, regen as much health as we can to just try and sustain in lane against this crazy bear, this lightning bear, if you will. And Ixmithi getting out in front, trying to just make sure, hey, you want to come try and defend this tower, I will stun you. But we also have Atlanta. We got the damage, all the damage we need to take that down quick and swiftly.
Yeah, and they're very close to getting top as well, with Balls able to pressure out Wings of Death. He can pressure that tower. It is still pretty healthy. He doesn't want to worry about teams coming to gank him. But even so, the early map control is going to be huge. We'll have to see. They have great AoE control. If all this very short-range team, I mean, we've talked about how strong and tanky their team is late game. But because they're so short range, they're all going to hit that Karthus wall late game. And so, Taric, Volibear, Nautilus, Rise, all of them, if they hit that Karthus wall, they all of a sudden group up into very close AoE. That's what the Karthus wall is great at. And then Karthus follows it up with his damage. Vladimir follows it up with his damage very quickly. They pick off some kills. Then, Sivir and Riven try and clear out the rest. It'll be interesting to see how they, kind of handle those fights.
Movement speed reduction and armor and MR shred on that wall of pain. It can hurt, especially when you have someone super farmed on your team right now, such as Atlanta, who's gotten 4-0-0 and quite a decent creep score right now. Actually, nearly we got about 40 lead here on the enemy Varus in terms of creeps, and looking for the Infinity Edge relatively soon. We want to get that extra damage to go ahead and scale off all of our abilities, because that boomerang is just every passing moment, it just hurts more and more and more, plus whatever damage boost we have coming with us from Muffin Cutie on Janna.
How much gold does Varus have? Can you check that real quick?
That is a good question. He's 1,800 right now.
Yeah, and so that's how much control Sivir has exerted down on bottom lane. So he Varus can go back, can get that BF sword, but even so, 3 Dorans and no other damage items 19 minutes in. Wow, so much damage on the Salsa. We see the Janna ult, though, going to force them back. They were concerned that Atlanta might drop with the Nautilus. Riven actually going to come right up against him in the jungle, though. Gets off some nice damage. He has to get out of there, though. We'll be fine.
Yep. We now see, for a short burst of time here, we see Aphromoo attempting to free farm bottom, just so we can go ahead and try and catch up to the farm on Sivir. And we also see, we saw this before, Balls not really intent on trying to take down the top tower as quick as we can. We want to try and keep Volibear up in top lane for as long as we can, keep him away from the team fights, because that's really where he's intended to shine here. Just go in, grab a champ, flip him, so that way TSM Evo can go ahead and just focus him down. We keep him top lane, we keep him preoccupied, he's out of the team fights.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing TSM Evo now going for this dragon. That'll definitely help them catch up some. Nice little exchange going between Wings and Balls top, but they will be able to pick it up very quickly. They have plenty of damage. They had the nice ward over by the race, so there wasn't really a concern of an engage. So they've kind of cut down on the lead, from mTw, which was just massive early. And honestly, their late game is just so devastating. It's going to be difficult for mTw to deal with. But again, they have that AoE advantage. They have the Karthus slow.
Yep, they do. We have all these tools available to us. We're just going to have to wait and see how we use them as we go. And we got the Ghost coming in from Balls. We're going in on this, and we got X-Smithy, we got Mandatory Cloud, trying to get as much damage as we can. We got the Flash, and we got the stun. The bear has fallen down. Are we going to go ahead and take this tower? Or are we just going to go ahead and leave it up? We actually got a lot of other members here from TSM Evo looking to defend, just in case they decide to push a little bit longer. We can go ahead and grab the small golems. We got this wave. We got the coverage we need, and we should be able to take this top tower down as well.
It does open up an opportunity for Aphromoo to farm, though.
It does.
So he's going to get some nice CS. He will be able to take down this turret. Was about to recall, but he should take it.
Right.
So, his team... One of the concerns is that they don't have a lot of anti-push, and Varus is really their only means of clearing out the creep waves. What that means is that Sivir and the rest of the team are going to be able to push down both top and mid very easily. They will be able to get a lot of damage onto these turrets. Sivir can take down towers very quickly, and that's a huge concern for them. So, we'll have to see. We actually see them just jumping on this mid turret. It's going to go down. There's no way they can defend against it. Atlanta getting kind of low, but they will be safe. And Salsa, getting a little bit too close there.
Oh, everyone dodges the boomerang. That could have been huge damage there. But, yeah, that's one of Sivir's greatest strengths. We have the attack speed steroid with our ult and the movement speed. We can be very effective at split pushing if we ever get the opportunity. Just go in, ricochet, and boomerang blade to just clear all the creeps and just keep on going towards tower. If we ever get engaged upon, if anyone's trying to come in and gank us, ult, whoa, move away, and we're good to go.
But we did see Aphromoo was able to pick up that tower. He is pretty close to getting some real damage, so that's definitely going to help him out a lot. He does have the initiation advantage, and so that's one thing to consider with Varus. Just like with Ashe, you kind of get to decide where, when the fights are going to happen.
That ult.
With him and Nautilus combined, they can, pick off people very easily, and so that's what mTw doesn't want to allow happen. They don't want Karthus or Vladimir to go down before the fight happens. Sivir should be pretty safe. Was another one of the reasons why Sivir is just such a interesting pick. That it's kind of weird that we haven't seen her played more frequently with how safe she is in that bottom lane.
Well, I think for competitive play at least, a lot of people are more like edging it towards Graves because we have the evasion possibilities with us with the dash. We have a little bit of sufficient CC with the smoke cloud, but he's also capable of dishing out lots of damage.
Yeah.
In very short bursts, but I think like Sivir's burst works differently because you need to be able to hit both ends of the boomerang blade in order to get all the burst capabilities that you have, and it's not the easiest thing to do unless you're very content and you're very safe with go ahead and push the lanes fiercely as you can. But it also speaks to what other strategies they may have in the late game because Sivir, once again mentioned again, fantastic at split pushing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's always a concern that Sivir kind of falls in a middle category on a lot of her stats and her kind of capabilities. But she can stall out games very well. She has, like you said, the pushy capabilities, works on offensive and defensive purposes. So she's just kind of a strong, safe, all-around pick. She has so much damage output now. Yeah. It's interesting to watch how Sivir builds go. And so when you had Sivir, you used to have the toggle on the W. You would see, she could easily out-farm anyone. You would have 300 CS Sivir 25 minutes into the game. So, that early in competitive play. And so you would start seeing items like Warmogs on your AD carry because you're like, all right, well, Sivir is short range. You want her to just stand there and be tanky. We do see, though, they are coming up on this Baron. They do see the wards, so they're going to back out of there. Varus was bottom, but they don't quite have enough time to take it down. With Karthus there, they have plenty of damage. They can take it down very quickly. So, there is always that threat, but without him, it's not so much.
Got another ward in the pit here, just trying to clear all of our options. And actually, we also have Nautilus with an Oracles as well, clearing out some more vision. xMthy leading to charge. We got the dash, we got the shield, also, once again, clearing out more wards. And I think we've pushed back Evo just enough. We might be able to try and re-engage on Baron here. Pit is clean. Another ward going down outside from Muffin Cutie, and we're going in on this, man. We got some vision. Do we have vision on them in mid? I don't think we did, but it doesn't matter.
Tarek went back, and they're going to kill this Baron very quickly. We see xMthy taking some great damage from Salse, though.
This could be a very bad situation. We got the ult coming here on Muffin Cutie. Unstoppable X is out in front. We got the Sivir ult. We also got the Shirley's pop. We got a nice little movement speed buff on both teams. Sivir's is longer, but they're just going to go ahead and use that to try and run away, re-engage when they want to, because xMthy got chunked out pretty huge.
Yeah, and I think without xMthy taking that damage, they probably would have had that Baron, or at least, maybe picked up a couple of kills in a fight. Ryze was kind of split. It wasn't the best engage from TSM Evo, but we did see mTw. They were very safe there. They want to back off now. TSM Evo actually maybe going to jump in on it. No, just going to clear some wards.
Yeah.
They do have plenty of taking capabilities though, and with both Varus and with Volibear, they can kill it very quickly as well. So that's a huge concern.
I'm surprised xMthy has not gone back to heal up, but we see, we got the you're backing in the wrong spot. No, melting immediately. We should have done that a lot earlier. And with that kill now we see TSM Evo knowing, all right, we got Riven, we got the person on the front line. They've been trying to stun us all day, but now it's time for a little bit of revenge. We're going to go ahead and grab the Baron. They should be able to push pretty hard with this. But mTw's not going to give this up without a fight. We got the wall pain coming in, but you also got the ult from Varus going straight in onto Karthus out in front. We got Muffin Cutie and Atlanta trying to deal as much damage as we can, but we also got the Karthus ult. Will we be able to catch up with this? We got Atlanta. You do not have the ult, but we got the Boomerang Blade actually catching both Tarek and Varus.
And with the movement speed, he should be able to run down Nocturne or Nautilus as well.
You saw the
shield pop, so he will be chasing down Vladimir, going to be able to pick up that kill.
Wow. We got a nice little turnaround there from mTw. That Boomerang Blade, man.
Yeah, that
dangerous.
was huge. And the big thing was it looked like TSM Evo, it looked like they were just going to absolutely obliterate mTw. Very beginning of the fight.
Yeah.
They had so much burst. They had so much CC.
Suicide
it looked like they were fine, yeah. But the issue was they're so short range, and they're all sitting in that huge AoE from Karthus, the AoE from Vladimir. Very quickly, they were all torn apart. And so, there's the strength of mTw's team, and it is very difficult for them to deal with when they're all going to be sitting in that AoE.
Good job on Mandatory Cloud. I mean, it was a Suicide Karthus attempt, but when he died, he was parked right out in front in the middle of the pit. If anyone wanted to come in and engage the rest of mTw, they had to go through him first, which meant going through the wall, going through the AoE, going through the lay wastes, and not to mention the fact that you have the ult to top and pile even more damage on all of that, which just allowed Atlanta with all of the DPS and the boomerang to just go ahead and clean up, but Baron is still up.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be an issue, having that AoE, but I don't know. TSM Evo, they have such a tanky team. We actually see Riven just jumping onto Aframu. He's going to burst him down so quickly. One more attack, gets it done.
Nice.
So, unfortunately, not quite able to kite him effectively enough. So that, obviously, to have Varus go down there is just going to be such a huge concern, but they have such a great late-game team. They have such tanky players. Once they can survive through some of that AoE, once they get a little bit more magic resist, they will be very safe.
And now we got Atlanta and Mandatory Cloud here leading the charge, trying to get the push down here on this tier 3 in mid. Varus is down for another 15 seconds. He might be able to grab this tower and get out. Inhibitor may not be a guaranteed thing, but actually we do see Riven here pushing up bot. We should be able to take this bot tower instead. It's actually looking pretty juicy, and TSM will not be able to defend this one. This one should go down pretty quick.
Yeah, and it's difficult for them to defend. I mean, when they're down a player, that's definitely going to be a poor situation for them. But the fact that they're going to have to run into this AoE, unless they're able to pick someone off in the front line, if they want to try and stop the push, they don't have a lot of clearing capabilities, as we kind of said earlier, and so they can't just kill the waves. If they want to stop them, they have to just run into them, and that means you're running into Karthus, you're running into Vladimir, which is something that they just don't want to do right now. They can pick people off. They have great killing potential as far as burst is concerned, but if Vladimir's the first to go down, he's still going to get out his damage. I'm sorry, if Karthus is the first to go down, he's still going to get out of his damage. Vladimir is just, I don't know, it's going to be difficult for them to burst him down. He's got so much damage, so much health at this point, has the MR, Sivir has the shield, so really Karthus is their only option, and we saw last fight, the zombie Karthus, they're just jumping on this Baron now. They have plenty of damage to take it down very quickly, though.
Will TSM Evo be able to get here in time? We got the ult being popped from Sivir. Yes, it goes down, and now Wings of Death, he's out in front. He's regretting that decision, running on in. We got balls, looking to get aggressive. We get in the pool, trying to get a little bit more extra movement speed. We did pop the Ghost to try and get something out of that, and we also have the ult from Nautilus going down next Smithy. But, no one dies, but we got the Baron on mTw, and they're looking to push once again. This time, going to go re-engage onto tier 3 in mid, and there's not really a whole lot Evo can do about this unless they, most of the ults, most of the stuff they need has already been popped. Use it trying to take them out or just trying to get away, and this tower should be going down pretty quick.
Yeah, and you see how aggressive Atlanta can be, just walking right up to the tower to take it down. They know, how much of an advantage they have. They know it's very difficult for them to invade onto Sivir, and we actually see Riven turning into an unstoppable, gets off the stun, will have to back off. They can take down this inhibitor very easily. The Karthus wall zoning them off, and now they can back off. They have such a huge gold advantage. I don't know, it's going to be very difficult for TSM Evo to come back in this game. I mean, they have the pickoff potential. That is, something they can always hang their hat on.
Yeah.
But just with how strong as a team mTw is right now, it's very difficult for them.
It's hard to pick off a member of the enemy team when you're being pushed to your own base. It's not the easiest attack. It's not even really something that is quite feasible. And we're seeing mTw getting super aggressive here, waiting for the wave. We're gonna see Atlanta poke on in, try and get as much damage as we can. We got the ricochet and the Qs going in. The ricochet, when it hits the tower, it does hit nearby enemies. That's why we're getting the tower aggro here, and we're just trying and just. Oh, there's not a whole lot Evo can do here. We're just gonna, the tower's just gonna keep getting chunked out. Should actually go down with this next wave coming up.
Yeah, and the fact that they have to deal with the push top, I mean, we have the minions, they're piling up on the tower.
Oh, yeah.
They have to deal with the push mid with the inhibitor down. We could almost see a split push from mTw right now with how strong they are. Riven could maybe consider split pushing. The only concern is, they want Riven to be with the rest of the team. But we see Sivir just going on this tower. They can push it down very quickly. We have the initiation from Nautilus. Unfortunately, they can't do it. We have the AoE, though. They're able to burst down Karthus, but then back off. And so that's what they want. They want to burst people down and then get out of there. It looked like maybe, we would start to see that AoE come out, but really effective play by TSM Evo to get out in time.
But mTw, they know the advantage they have. We got the spell shield popped up on the way just in case. We are able to take out that inhibitor and flash just away to avoid the hook. But we got Rai still coming in on balls, forcing the pool. Will he be able to get away? Will we get the root here from Nautilus? But no, we got the Janna ult. But the pool still goes off and balls does get caught out. We do got the inhibitor though.
That was cool.
That was pretty neat, man. I thought the Janna ult was actually going to clear him away, but we still had it. That extended hook, man. Extended hook action.
Yeah, but even so, with 2 inhibitors down, they were able to pick off the 1 kill, back off, which is what you need to do with Karthus. But at this point, it is, just so far beyond, their abilities to win this. I mean, it's, they obviously they have a really strong late game.
They do.
They have, such great tanking capabilities. They have the pushing and range with Varus. It's as the game goes further and further, their late game shines more and more against the Magic Damage team. It's just the fact that mTw is so far ahead right now. They have so much aggression, such great AoE damage.
Yeah, that's the thing about late game teams. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you got a late game team, you got to survive and not give the advantage away, so you can actually get to the late game. And things have just spiraled a little bit too far out of control. We do see Xmithy here pushing top once again. I just want to get some more of those creeps cleared out, attempting to steal on the red, but we actually got pretty much everyone here from Evo trying to get in on something. They do have they're aware something's up, but all of mTw is not too far behind Mandatory Cloud putting the wall of pain. We got to get Flash. Xmithy actually really aggressive on this one, but Muffin Q is here. Can we get the displacement? We got the ward just to know where they are. Tornado does not hit anyone. They should be able to pressure this top tower a little bit. We also got the creeps being cleared in mid as well, looking to push towards the Nexus.
Yeah, and I mean, with mid and bot pushing, they can just sit top. They can be passive. The Sivir ult, it gives them such a great disengage when you combine it with Janna. So they have the movement speed from Janna. They have, the movement speed from Sivir. They can just blow the Monsoon if they need to, throw off the Whirlwind. It's so difficult for, along with the Karthus wall as well, it's so easy for them to retreat. Like, they just don't have enough sticking potential for TSM Evo to just hold them there. And so as a result, they can be very passive in this top lane. They can just push right up to the tower, know they're safe, and all the while, the rest of their base is being pushed in. And it's just, I don't know, you see, it's just that difficulty. We see the flash from Xmithy trying to get the engage. He's actually still going for it, gets in on Salse. The rest of his team is just focusing this tower. We see Volibear coming in, and so Xmithy is going to go down. Can they get any more kills? Nat Nguyen very close to going down, but they're very close to grabbing Vladimir as well. Unfortunately, the rest of them are low. Unstoppable going down to Sivir, and now we see the rest of them going down. The triple kill onto Sivir. Aphromoo going to take some damage there, but all the minions pushing in, he can't stop the oncoming horde. Yep. It's going to be GG for mTw.
Yeah, got right back to Fountain just in time to save himself from the Karthus ult, but you know what? We got all this pushing power here from mTw. We got the minions. We got to get these minions out of the way, man. They're blocking our path to the Nexus, but we've got all these super minions pushing. There we go. GG. Game 2 going to mTw.NA. Good job.